So you want a yes man,
yes,
type of wife.
Yes.
So everything you say go.
Do yes.
So it's like,
yes.
Are you marrying the woman for her, or you just marrying her because you want to control her?
Precisely the second one. I want to just control her, make her do whatever I want.
So how can you tell that a man is a misogynist? Very obvious. He hates women. He hates the mere idea that a woman is not angry, chained, suffering, subjugated, and being oppressed by a man. Let's watch this clip together and we'll come back and talk about it.
Never, and I mean never, date educated woman, successful woman, a wealthy woman, a rich girl, dominant woman, a competitive woman, a woman that is fixed on becoming a successful entrepreneur, someone going up the career ladder, any kind of woman like that, you never ever go near.
Okay, but are there any women left?
Not because she's evil, not because she's a bad person.
Was anyone thinking that before you said that? Or did you say that because you would hope that starts to ruminate in the viewer's subconscious where they perhaps start thinking that?
But because it is completely out of alignment with her nature.
It's not in a woman's nature to get an education and acquire wealth for herself. Is it in your nature? Because you're not signaling you're in possession of either. It seems it's in your nature to be an insufferable, repugnant cunt, where you're telling the world that women have to make themselves very small to be accommodating to you. Where you're acting like that you're rejecting the women in question, when in reality you probably don't come across their radar.
What you have to understand,
that it's in this man's nature, like many others online, to keep insecure, vulnerable men on the hamster wheel, to where they will never have the prospect of having a good relationship with a woman, because if those men did, it would get in the way of these men making a profit off of them.
Is that women in the modern age currently operating completely outside of their nature.
Which is?
Women have one purpose in this life, and that is to have children.
You not wanting to bear my children is out of alignment with your nature and purpose, you female.
Feminist ideology that women for the last 50 years have been inflicted upon to essentially convince women that their natural existence on this planet, which is to have children, is oppressive.
Let me guess, if all women went out and pursued having children without men, because they could go get inseminated via a sperm donation, you would also say that is out of alignment with their nature. And what about all the women due to unforeseen circumstances that were out of their control led them to not being able to conceive children? What is in their nature then? But lastly and most importantly, there are endless educated women who make their own money who are having children. It's almost like this idea of nature is something more like,
I don't have to think about breathing. It just happens. So a woman's natural role is what she does naturally. The passion she drifts towards naturally. The work she likes naturally. If she wants to be a mother, that comes naturally to women who want to be mothers. Nature does not require force and violence.
It's almost like nature has the capacity to evolve, and if you don't evolve with it, you get left behind. So if it's in a particular woman's nature that she desires to have children, that probably includes having it with a man who's not a total flog bucket like you.
I think this is general knowledge. Any person that has to make another person feel small in any environment in order to feel powerful is obviously a person that suffers from low self-esteem. Yeah, because that's all I see. It's very obvious that they feel intimidated by successful women. All I see is just an emotional man that is scared that he's losing his sense of worth because all his life he's been told that he's more important than a woman. So he feels like, how dare these women feel like they're powerful, they're more intelligent, more independent, happier, living a better life than him. In my opinion, these misogynistic men reek of low self-esteem and low sense of worth. It's just obvious.
You're a woman in a relationship. You're not allowed to talk to men anymore.
This one is going to be really bad. Hit me with it.
You controlling misogynist? What about? Don't worry. I've got all the answers to all your questions.
This guy is an object lesson in who and what we are talking about when we say that these manosphere manfluencers don't actually like women. The mockery, the contempt that oozes out of every word, the patronizing tone. This is how you talk to somebody that you hate.
Your father, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, they're all fine.
So very sweet and allow you to continue having a relationship with your dad and your brothers. Of course, I'm sure that he wouldn't hesitate for 1 second to cut you off from them if he felt like he had to.
Now let's get more specific. Have you slept with this guy before? If the answer is yes, no more communication. Literally never.
It's very likely that somebody hurt him in the past. So many of these guys were hurt by a woman in the past, and now they insist on taking it out on all women. Just say that. Just be honest about where you're coming from. Also, pro tip for you, because your whole shtick is smug performative rationality, it is very noticeable and particularly unsettling in those moments where pure anger breaks through.
How about guys you work with? Well, are you in a professional setting? If so, go right ahead.
Very kind of you to allow her to, do her job.
But if he's texting you constantly outside of work or inviting you to non-work activities, your answer? A simple no. Here's one you won't like. Your male best friend. Guess what? He's not your best friend anymore.
Remember at the beginning of this video when he anticipated that women might think that he's a controlling misogynist and he mocked them for it?
He is basically in the same category as an amicable ex-boyfriend.
I hope that we all realize at this point that this video is not made for women, right? That this was made for the boys and he is selling them on the benefits of controlling and isolating your partner. This is abuse.
This particular man is proof that a man speaking eloquently and dressed, nicely does not equate sense. Because you could mistake this guy for a very eloquent, intelligent person, but just let him speak and you see how little and small he thinks of himself. Because these are all like control. I want to control you. No, I think you're going to compete with me and you're going to beat me at a game of life. So I have to do everything in my power to not let that happen. To put you in check. So you don't outperform me as a man. That's a man with a weak ego, like I said earlier. Insecure men are like the worst type of men you can ever think of. Because these are the men that they cannot stand that a woman is successful, is independent, has something going on for herself. They feel intimidated by those types of women.
5 signs he's a misogynistic prick because dating is hard enough. Let's not let these guys procreate anymore. Sign number 1, he only treats women that he finds sexually attractive with respect. If he does not find you sexually attractive and there's nothing to gain, he won't treat you with decency. Oh, and for 2, he'll attack your looks if he doesn't like your opinion. I deal with this online all the time as a liberal woman. Sign 3 would be him labeling opinionated, smart women as aggressive, crazy, too much. But he doesn't do the same for men who have the same characteristics. Sign number 4, he's a misogynist, and this is a big one to watch out for in the dating world. He thinks a woman's boundaries are negotiable, yet his should be respected immediately. And 5, he's MAGA. Let's just stop their procreation now, because they're not serving any good purpose.
Misogynistic men want you to believe, okay, that if you're a single woman, you are promiscuous. And the reason why you're single is because you want to do whatever you want to do without consequences. What you have to understand is that reflects their morality and their standard of behavior, not yours. I find it incredible, incredulous, in fact. Right? When misogynistic men assume that because a woman is single, it is because she has no self-discipline, no self-control, no self-respect, and that she is. And by the way, if you're an adult woman, you can do what you want with your body. So I'm not even commenting on that. What I'm saying is that they assume and they need you to believe and they need other people to believe that you are promiscuous, that singleness equals promiscuity, and it does not. And they will blatantly turn their ears off when there are lots of women telling them that that's not the case. Now, by the way, in order to be legitimately single, you don't have to be celibate or abstinent anyway, right? Singleness is really about your marital status, ultimately, especially when you fill out a form. You see, when you fill out an official form to get a job or apply for something, and it says, what's your marital status? It doesn't say, are you in the talking stages? Are you exclusive? Are you in a situationship? Are you single? No, it doesn't. It's either single or married in the eyes of the law, right? It's just about your marital status. So these new definitions and terms and conditions that misogynistic men are now creating on the hop. Why? Because they're trying to still control how women see themselves and the choices that women make. And they're also trying to sanction and control and dictate your desires. You see, because really, the ideal for misogynistic men is that women never engage in smex. And when they do, they only engage in smex on the terms and the desire level of one man, the man that has chosen them to be his wife.
I think this is the case because most of these men, they feel entitled to a woman's body. They feel like a woman lives for their pleasure. Your body is meant to be of service to a man. That's why, like, that body count, virginity is like a major topic in most gatherings when they talk about women, because the first line of control is your body. If they can control your body, that's all they want. They want access and they want control over your body. That's why they would often shame a woman for, exercising her freedom over her body. That's like the major place, like it hurts them so badly, and that's why they would call a woman who has a huge body count expired, or a woman who has given birth expired. They would often attack your body. That's the part that pricks them the most. And women, let's not fall for that. No man is entitled to a woman's body. You do with your body what you please. If you decide to respect your body whichever way you want, it is your body. There is no woman that will tell a man what to do with his body. So why would they think they have the right to tell you what to do with your body? You have autonomy over your body. So a man is not entitled to your body. A man should not dictate what you do with your body.
Now, what they don't tell you, of course, is that, once you do get chosen to be his wife, you are now subject to whatever quality he dishes out, aren't you? You see where I'm coming from? Because very rarely are these men talking about the woman's right to pleasure and the full sensory experience of sexual pleasure. It's very rare. They're not that invested, by the way. That's why you'll see all of these classes that get run about sexuality and intimacy. They are usually full of women who've paid to be there, not men. Isn't that funny? Most men have no idea about things like tantric and yoni because they're not that invested. You see what I mean? They're just sticking their willies in a hole. And it's just about gratification and accessing a body. That's all it's about, really. Okay? And so ideally they don't want you to have desire. And so when you're single, basically they can't fathom, they're confused as to what your utility is, because if you're single, they don't want you to be with anyone. They are, and because this is the other thing. So now all of a sudden, Smex toys are a problem. They're a threat. They're a threat to the communication in a relationship. They're a threat to the experience for who? Exactly. And now they want you to believe it's a threat to your own experience, because apparently it desensitizes you. Do you get the general theme here? The general theme for a misogynistic man, the bottom line is that you as a woman only have utility in relation to a man. You are only there to serve a man, and they can only see you in the context of Smex. And so when you're single and abstinent and celibate, they choose not to believe that you are. They tell you that what they believe is more important than the actual truth, and what they believe is more important than what you think of yourself. Yeah. So while you're single, you should be literally singular, living in a little box and a shell. That's then legitimate singleness, and even then, you can't truly be happy, because what you need, a man. You need to be useful to a man sexually. And outside of that context, they can't fathom that you are a human being that can exist and live and thrive without Smex, maybe, but without a man. Because here's the other thing as well. When you thread all of this together, once you get into said marriage, when you are chosen by the man, you have to, as part of your wifely duties, provide Smex when he wants it. Otherwise, you're not being a good wife. Otherwise, you are forsaking and denying him his marital due, and therefore you're not doing what God expects of you. Do you see the general theme here?
They cannot comprehend anything outside of sexualizing a woman's body, viewing a woman as an object for their pleasure, their sexual pleasure. I've been in situations where I talk with men and I tell them I'm single by choice, and the first thing that comes to their minds is, a sexual question. And I'm like, why is that the only thing that you care about? Funny enough, it hardly crosses my mind. It's mostly the men that have drawn my attention to that part. For some reason, that seems to bother them. Like, that seems to be their major concern. Like, they'll ask you something like, so you just want to be promiscuous, you don't want to commit to one person, you just want to have sex anytime you want. And I'm like, so that is all your mind can think about when a woman tells you she wants to be single. You think she just wants to sleep around, she just wants to be promiscuous. it goes a long way to show you that men see women as just simply bodies and tools for their pleasure. They just see you for your body and not as a human being that has autonomy, that could actually make decisions for themselves that they deem favorable to them, like being single by choice, and just perceiving that as a choice merely, not bringing up the conversation of sex. So nobody's going to own this body. So what are you going to be doing with your body? You mean your body is going to be wasting, or you just want to be promiscuous? You know, those kinds of sexual comments. So yeah, like, she's a very intelligent woman, and that is something I personally have observed over the years.
If you've ever wondered why men rush to support each other in misogynistic comments online, if you wonder why they pile on, why they excuse it, why they minimize it, you should know it's not strength, it's submission. Men who want to control women are often deeply submissive to male authority. They don't actually care what they're saying. They care who's watching. Everything about their comments is performative. It's not for women, it's not for belief, it's not for truth. It's a performance for other men, especially the ones they see as higher up on the ladder of authority than them. It's a please see me, please approve me, please let me sit at the big boys' table. And when they find they can't access real respect, power or competence, they reach for the cheapest currency available, contempt for women. Online spaces magnify this because they reward it. The louder the cruelty, the faster the validation. The more dehumanizing the take, the faster come the pats on the head from the other insecure men. That's why it looks coordinated, that's why it feels rehearsed. And that's why the language is all so similar. She won't let you hit, bro. It's not confidence, it's a loyalty display from the weakest baboons in the pack. And once you see that, you stop taking it so personally. Because you realise it was never about women. It's always been men begging other men to let them belong. Big hug.
On Nigerian TikTok, there's this guy that's been trending. He debated a feminist whom I listen to a lot. And when I tell you she cooked him, when I listened to everything the guy said, I would say none of it was his opinion. He was just regurgitating everything that these manosphere men spill on their podcast that I've listened to. You know, the Andrew Tate and the rest of them. It looks like a rehearsed script. Like, that was all it was. No original opinion of his own.
Feminism is a joke in this country.
You're a joke.
And
why do
there's
you
nothing.
it's not a joke.
There's
Why
nothing. Can I just finish? There's nothing that your anger can do, because if men wake up this morning, every single man, and say we want to take it 500 years backwards, when push comes to shove, lock up all the women, turn them to baby factories, whatever those ideas are that, you know, men in the past did, we can actually do that, and
so
nobody
you're proving my point.
will stop us.
So you're
if
proving
that
my
is
point.
what we want to do.
Exactly.
Nobody is going to stop us.
Exactly.
So it goes a long way to show you that most of these men, they just say things for the approval of other men. Obviously, we know men can be male-centered. So it can just be very boring and unnecessary to even debate them, because most of them, they're just followers. They're just trying to impress their fellow men. They're just trying to score points amongst their so-called toxic friends, men that they respect, basically, and they look up to.
So if your wife say, yo, honey, this the only thing, like, I would love this if you do this for me, and it's gonna make me happy. Like, this is your wife. This is the person you're gonna be for the rest of your life. Are you gonna make an exception? It's your wife.
It is your wife.
Are you gonna make an exception?
I'm gonna look at him like, better respect me, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? Don't ever disrespect me ever like that in your life. Matter of fact, go in the kitchen and make some muffin G. That's what you really make me mad. Fuck is you talking about?
That's you talking to your wife?
Yeah, nigga. I'm be like, yo. Matter of fact, double it.
So you want a yes man,
yes,
type of wife?
Yes.
So everything you say go?
Do, yes.
So it's like, are you marrying the woman for her, or you just marrying her because you want to control her?
Precisely the second one. I want to just control her, make her do whatever I want.
I'm gonna let the comment deal with this nigga.
Yeah.
Misogyny.
Yeah.
I'm married. The comment deal with this dumbass nigga right here.
I'm a marry her. I want to marry her so she could do whatever I say.
Misogyny.
She could just.
Hey. I actually get this a lot. Sometimes men who are too fragile to deal with their own internalized misogyny project their anger with themselves and the men around them by lashing out at men who offer that we should treat women better. That can culminate into them throwing shade or what they believe to be insults at men who, like myself, believe we have the capacity to do more. In other words, But I'd also like to take the time to talk about the fact that being raised by a single mother is not a bad thing. If you think that a woman who has imparted onto her son the responsibility of treating women like human beings has made him weaker, then you, sir, are the problem. Anyways, we not children, and these hands don't play with motherfuckers through the screen, so if you want to come see what I'm about, I stay in Atlanta, Georgia.
Body counts. So is it not like really weird to count the amount of people that you've had the S word with?
No, it's not like really weird to count how many people enter your vagina. You should keep up with how many people literally enter your body.
I don't think it's anybody's business how many people you did that with.
Well, that's cool, but do you know there's hundreds of millions of women worldwide that go their whole lives having sex with one man, losing their virginity to him, which builds a soul tie, and the blood of the hymen being broken seals the contract of marriage, because that's what marriage actually is. When you take a woman's virginity, it's just a passage of ownership from the father to the husband to protect the woman. That's why even in today's goofy-ass version of marriage, the father walks the daughter down the aisle to the husband. And the keystone to that contract is the woman's virginity.
I think we all know that nobody really cares about a guy's body count. Only ours matter. And why is that?
Because men can have multiple women. We aren't equal. We aren't valued for the same things. Men are valued for their power. Women are valued for their submission, and it's way harder to submit to one man if you've been with a whole lot of guys. I feel bad for these girls for real. Like, they've been tricked by this society into thinking that they can do whatever they want, and we're still gonna value them the same. Every time you have sex, there's a spiritual interaction. So every new person you have sex with, that's a new spirit that's on you. Like, and the more spirits you have on you, the harder it's gonna be for you to wrangle all that together to follow me. It just makes relationships harder.
Okay, a lot of y'all tagged me in that video. We had a good laugh at part 1, okay, but this is where it gets actually really dangerous. It's people like this who don't view women as actual humans. They just view them as, like, literal property. He said it himself when he said this.
It's just a passage of ownership from the father to the husband to protect the woman. And the keystone to that contract is the woman's virginity.
So he's aware of the original tradition of marriage and how it was literally an exchange of property. Women were literally owned by their husbands. And then he said on top of it that women owe him their virginity. The reason I'm saying this is dangerous is because it's not just him. This is not an isolated case. 20,000 people liked that video. And not all men are going to be like that. They're not all going to be so open and overt with their misogyny. That is the foundation for an abusive relationship. And unfortunately, a lot of women don't find out that we're with men like that until it's too late. A lot of them are a lot better at concealing their misogyny for a lot longer. This is why, when dating, it's important to have these conversations. Right off the bat, first date, I don't even care. Ask him what his thoughts are on feminism, on womanism. You can say, hey, patriarchy, does that word ring a bell? What does it mean to you? Figure out early on if it's that type of guy you're dealing with. And if that's the case, run. Like, I know part 1 was super wild and funny, but it's like, this is actually dangerous. Like, let's pay attention to this.
Misogynistic men are more than just annoying. They're outright dangerous for women. These types of men crave male validation. That is why they're jealous of women. You see, the thing is they're codependent on women because they need women to fulfill their narcissistic, sociopathic identities. So misogynistic men need women for emotional regulation, and they are terrified of rejection. Most of them have really damaged and strained relationships with their mothers, but they form a codependent attachment to the mother's validation. They're extraordinarily shameful people, they're dishonest people, and they often, well, I wouldn't, you used to talk about DL men. Misogynistic men are most likely to be DL men as well. And so that's why it's not a shock when these hypersensitive, hyper-alpha men get caught up on things like Grindr and stuff like that. That is very, very common. They have strained identities. The caricature that they portray themselves as, the strong alpha, is a cartoonish character, an idealized version of themselves that deals with the weakness, that deals with the sensitivity, that deals with the fact that they're threatened. They're terrified of real men. And so they're jealous. That is why these men are the ones that are always trying to get women to cheat. They're always trying to measure themselves. Everything's a competition. So how you can tell one of these weak-minded men is every conversation with men is a competition or a admiration-generating talk. They're either seeking approval, endless amounts of male attention and validation, or they're fighting. That's all they have. They're particularly dangerous for women because they're envious of the male attention that women get. And so while they're fueled by jealousy and envy in order to obtain women, they'll pursue you as if they really, really want you. And that's the mistake many women will make, is that the grandiosity, the false bravado, the confidence that they exude initially will seem safe. Like it seems like they would protect you with this aggression. But the aggression that they use to pursue you will then turn on you. Because you see that they'll never trust you because they have no core identity. They're completely codependent. They will degrade you. They will control you financially. They will do anything to manipulate you. They don't mind infecting you with vices. And they never, ever really have anything to stand on. Many of them do not have the kind of success that they try to convey because they're like a child that's putting pieces of a puzzle together. You see, the woman is only a piece of the puzzle. And so it's like a child at the bottom of a sinking battleship that's running around trying to patch up holes while building the battleship bigger and bigger and bigger. They're always trying to become, and they never quite get there. And so the cars, the money, the businesses, the online antics, the fighting, it's all part of this presentation. They are a presentation of an idealized caricature that they've developed themselves to be to protect themselves. And they never got to be the man that they wanted to become. And that is why they're jealous, spiteful, envious, and miserable people. Absolutely miserable. The one characterization that you can always find with a pseudo-alpha like this is they're miserable people. They're never happy. They're never satisfied. They always have to be in some kind of competition or pursuit because they're always in this hyper-vigilant defensive state, a black and white thinker that lives out a life of narcissistic cartoonism.
You know, someone said that how you know that a man likes women, he's usually a simp. You know, those men they call simps. Those are the men that are 100% into women. And that makes sense to me because I don't know if any of us have experienced a man that genuinely actually likes you as a woman. He would be doing his possible best to, you know, please you. It's just different. For the most of it, he's not trying to impress his friends or men around him or trying to prove his masculinity. A secure man who is genuinely really into women would not be trying to prove his masculinity to his friends by degrading a woman. Because you as a woman, you would even know, you would feel it when you meet a man that is genuinely, like, is actually into women. He's not trying to force any sort of masculinity on you or trying to prove himself. But it's usually these men that are insecure about their masculinity and trying to prove to other men that they're masculine. Oh, I can get a woman to obey me. She's nothing. You know, I'm a man too. They are the ones that oftentimes mistake masculinity. They are the ones that possess this toxic masculinity traits. And, you know, I've heard people say these behaviors are often learned from their mothers. No, I don't think so. Most of these men learn these behaviors from their fellow men. If you watch the Manosphere, the one on Netflix, his mom was actually very disappointed. Like, you could see that he did not learn it from his mom. So they oftentimes learn this toxic masculinity from other men. Most men that were raised by women do not possess this toxic masculinity. Any healthy man that is secure, that is straight, that is not DL, raised by a woman, you can tell by his behavior. I'm not one of those people that believe that a woman cannot raise a man to be a full-blown man. For crying out loud, every man came from a woman. Why do we as a society think that a woman alone cannot raise a male child to be a healthy, non-misogynistic man? If you as a woman think that a woman cannot raise a healthy male, it tells a lot about you. It shows that you have some internalized misogyny in you, because that goes a long way to show that you don't rate femininity. Because if you think a woman cannot raise a healthy male that is going to go out there in society and not be a nuisance to society, then it means you underrate the power of the feminine, of the woman. It means you deem femininity as inferior. Because most of the most gentle and sweetest men were raised by their moms. Most of them, they learned those good traits from their moms. There's this boy I follow on TikTok. He calls out misogynistic men. He talks about, like, he's all about femininity, and he said everything he learned was taught to him by his mother. You need to hear him speak. So let's not get it twisted. A lot of these men are DL men, frolicking to be masculine men, strong men.
Misogyny is actually hurting men a lot more than misandry. Number one, we have men suffer from high rates of depression and suicide because of misandry. No, that's misogyny. You don't cry or have anyone to confide in because you don't want to be seen as a weak little girl. You won't go to therapy because you see talking about your feelings as feminine. The only people that y'all...
Yeah, you see the toxic masculinity I was talking about, associating anything femininity to weakness.
Feel safe enough to confide in are women, and you're asking women to do free emotional labor because you feel entitled to it. Through and through and through and through, that's all misogyny. All of that is misogyny. And so if that's hurting you, that's not misandry. You're not depressed because of misandry. You're not depressed because the world hates men. You're depressed because the world hates women, and that rubs off on how the world treats men.
That's such a good point.
Women are not allowed to cry either, just so y'all know. We get made fun of too when we cry. Women feel even more pressure to like never cry in public.
So true.
If anything. So yeah, I don't think that that's a very like good faith argument. All of these arguments are bad faith arguments, because if you really, really think about it, you could have solved this for yourself and for other men if you would have just listened to women a long time ago.
You know, as a man myself, the more I grow, the more I realize that we men are the fucking problem. I'm not claiming that I'm a man hater or something because I'm a man. It's just gonna be contradicting. But like, damn, we men do be really the problem. We are the problem. Like all the worst thing that's happening all the worst thing that happening in the world right now are caused by men. Rape, war, murder, genocide, mostly by men. And just Google right now, country that lead by women. They all are problematic. They all don't have political issues. They are chill. They are happy. They are peaceful. Give it a go. Google it. If you don't trust me. And if you're triggered by this, you just prove my point. Like, we men do really need to be better.
I want to conclude by saying any person that associates femininity to weakness, to inferiority, there is something wrong with your mentality, and that needs to change. And if you're a woman that thinks this way, trust me, you've been indoctrinated by these misogynistic men, and you need to rid yourself of that kind of thinking, because it just goes a long way to show that you don't even rate yourself and you don't know the power that you carry as a woman. Any man that is hating on women, I'm sorry for you, but like, it's just your insecurity taking the best of you, and I don't blame you. It's the patriarchy that has convinced you somehow that you're more important than women. But if you're spilling misogyny, it just goes a long way to show that you're a weak man. I'm not the one saying it. Like, obviously we can tell who you are, and we see you, and we hope that you get the help that you need to rid yourself of that toxicity, because it's going to get you nowhere. And I would like to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. I want to know if any of you have encountered any of these types of men and your experiences with misogynistic men. And on that note, we've come to the end of this video. If you watched this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to leave your comments down below in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to anyone you think might be interested in this conversation. I remain your girl Joy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a blessed day. Bye.